Following the Norse refusal to give up positions in the newly declared Confederacy, P.G.T. Beauregard directs his military towards Fort Sumter and his former instructor at West Point, Major Robert Anderson. After 34 hours of gunfire, no one had perished, but Major Anderson was forced to surrender. During the surrender ceremonies, 2 Union men were killed due to a firing accident. Fort Sumter was a Confederate victory, and that's significant for several reasons. One of them being they got a fort on the port at Charleston, South Carolina, but that didn't end up doing them much good since the Union imposed a naval blockade. What the real benefit from Fort Sumter proved to be for the Confederates was the 4 additional states that seceded from the Union following their victory. That was significant, bolstering their numbers from 7 to 11. Jefferson Davis and the Confederacy had to be taken seriously because their numbers were large enough where the Union was threatened by their presence. Manassas, Virginia, home of the Battle of Bull Run and the Second Battle of Bull Run. The second battle, fought on August 28th through August 30th, 1862, had a huge significance for the Confederate Army. Robert E. Lee and his Confederate generals showed that even in the face of inferior resources and lesser manpower, they could still be an unstoppable force. With tactical brilliance, the Confederate Army compels the Union to retreat. Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, home of the Battle of Gettysburg. On July 1st, 1863, Union Commander George G. Meade puts his Army of the Potomac against Confederate General Robert E. Lee's Army of Northern Virginia. 3 days of fighting covered over 9 square miles of Gettysburg and the surrounding areas. Over 46,000 casualties were suffered by the two sides combined, including 7,863 deaths, the largest total for any battle during the Civil War. The Union won a much-needed victory at Gettysburg and turned the war in their favor. President Lincoln unifies the nation a little over 4 months after the battle in what is now known as the Gettysburg Address. Major General William Tecumseh Sherman led what is now known as Sherman's March to the Sea from November 15th to December 21st, 1864. Starting in Atlanta, Georgia, and ending on the coast in Savannah, Georgia, this march was little more than barbarism operating under the guise of the doctrine of total war. Cities were left in smoldering ruins as Sherman imposed his brutal tactics on any settlement unfortunate enough to be in his path. The Battle of Columbus took place on April 16, 1865. Fought in the states of Alabama and Georgia, this battle is considered by most to be the final conflict of the war. An overmatched Confederate army of little more than 3,000 foot soldiers was forced to surrender by over 13,000 Union cavalry. The Confederacy would soon dissolve, and its president, Jefferson Davis, would be thrown in prison.